The newest statement we've heard all night. All right, let's get things started. That's right, ladies and gentlemen. It is Commissioner Cooper, and it's Champs or Chumps Big Game Special Edition. We are super fired up indeed, no pun intended. Let's start our introductions. Welcome into the studio, the overseer, overlord, I guess, if you will, of festivities tonight. It's Judge Jordan. Welcome into the studio, my friend.
All right, thanks for having me. Always a pleasure, and always enjoy doing a little judge work on the side.
Absolutely, and this is the final judgment, if you will, for this season. Let's welcome into the studio first, Jim from Santa Boot First. Welcome into the studio, my friend.
Thanks for having me. Good evening, Judge. The hair's on point tonight, Your Honor. Just want to point that out.
Oh, man.
Thank you.
Kissing that butt already. I mean, come on, man.
Hey, that's the way you do it. Hey,
I'd like it.
You got greasing. You know about greasing things in Philly.
That's it. You know how to butter where your bread is, as they say. Let's also welcome to the studio JP from Chief Focus. Welcome into the studio, my friend.
Thanks, man. Thanks for having me. We tried to do this a few times this year, and it just didn't work out, but now we got it straightened out. So
you know what? We got it when it mattered, and this is the big one, when it matters indeed. Well, let's start out tonight. Round one, our champ round. We're going to start with the QB position. Jim, we'll start with you. Give us the argument for why your QB is going to be a champ this Super Bowl Sunday.
I'm going to leave the numbers and the statistics to the side, right? There's lies, there's damn lies, and there's statistics. The numbers will tell you whatever you want the numbers to tell you. I'm going to tell you that Hurts, he's got a chip on his shoulder. He's got something to prove. The kid's hungry. He says he's starving. He's focused. He's healthy, as what they're telling us he's healthy. And again, he's just got something to prove. Second round pick. I think the whole NFL had doubted him until maybe people started to come around week 13 before he got hurt. There's just a lot of doubters, and I think he's looking to prove some people wrong. So Jalen is going to be out there. He's in the biggest spotlight. This is where he can say, this is me, Philly. I'm your franchise quarterback. Pay me those big bucks. I'm ready to sign on the line and bring Philly another Super Bowl.
For what it's worth, Jalen having an MVP-type season, this is basically a layup for both of you guys. Let's go on to JP. Let me alley-oop this easy one for you. Let's give your champ argument for your QB coming up this Super Bowl Sunday.
You know, I'm not going to go into the statistically the best 5 years any quarterback's ever had in the history of football. I'm not going to go into that. But I will say 326 yards, 2 touchdowns, no interceptions, on one leg, missing 3 wide receivers. That says it all in an AFC championship game. If that doesn't tell you anything, nothing does. But the man's broken every record there is in a 5-year span. You cannot, look, if he played for the Raiders, and I hate the Raiders, he's the absolute best quarterback in football. There's nobody better than him. Competitive-wise, he's a lunatic. He puts everything on the line every time he plays, especially in the playoffs. I mean, his playoff record speaks for itself. He's amazing. The man's got over 300 yards. He averages over 300 yards a game in the playoffs. That's in the playoffs. I don't know that any quarterback has ever been able to do that in this, in any era. I don't think Brady did that ever. So I think he had one game maybe that he had 300 or 400 yards in a playoff for a Super Bowl. So, I mean, honestly, it's just difficult when you compare Patrick Mahomes to everybody else because he's not everybody else. So I'll leave it at that. I mean, there's really not much more to say. The man's just an animal.
I think anyone watching right now is very envious of both these quarterbacks, especially the judge here. No, I'm just kidding, Judge. Give us your judgment for round number one, my friend.
great arguments on both sides. And you know what? In almost all my fantasy rosters, I was rocking with Jalen Hurts most of the season. He has that whole other thing going for it. You know, Mahomes can run, but not like Hurts can. And, you know, Mahomes has lost a Super Bowl. Jalen Hurts hasn't. But I will say this. It's Patrick freaking Mahomes. Point for JP.
Patrick Mahomes taking round number 1. I mean, again, this is pretty much a coin toss. Great QBs on both sides of the field.
Definitely.
Let's get on to let's ruffle the feathers a little bit. Let's get to round 2 and get to the chump round. JP, we're going to start with you here. We want to hear the chump argument. Why is the Eagles running attack going to be a chump this Super Bowl Sunday?
Man, that's difficult because I can't say, man, it's hard to say they are, but I will say this. Strength of schedule plays a huge part in every game. Every season, every team that plays the game. People that think it doesn't, you're just wrong. So when you're going up against teams, you know, that are subpar in the defensive area, which has happened a lot this year with the Eagles, and I'm not saying by any means that they're a bad football team. I'm just saying when you're going up against subpar defensive lines, subpar defenses, it's a little easier to, you know, run the ball. They do have a great offensive line, but I have to see them going against a solid defensive line. You know, not a 6-win team or a 4-win team. I want to see them go up against a solid football team and see what they can actually do.
Okay, he's calling them out. Let's see what they can do against a real team, he says. Jim, let's go to you then. I mean, hey, you're from Philly. I know you like the trash talk. Let's hear why the Chiefs running attack are going to be chumps this coming up Super Bowl Sunday.
Can anybody outside of Kansas City name who the running backs are? I mean, you got guys like Ronald Jones and Isaiah Pacheco. And, I mean, come on. The argument of we haven't played good teams, it wasn't Dallas the top, one of the top defenses, and we played them twice. But I will commiserate with the Kansas City fans because we had Andy Reid here. We know Andy Reid doesn't like his running backs. Andy Reid, he passes to run. So you never know who the running back. Jerick McKinnon was a thing for a week or two, right? And he disappeared. So he has a running game. It's an afterthought for Andy Reid. And you look at our defensive line, good luck. You got bigs like Fletcher Cox and Jordan Davis clogging up that middle. You're not going to get up there. Try to get to the outside. Good luck getting around Hassan Reddick. Our secondary, you got the safeties back there. If Pacheco tries to pop one, he's going to get popped. So, look, I'll give you round 1. You're not taking round 2. Running back in Kansas City, don't
Let me
scare
say
me
one
at
more
all.
thing about McKinnon really quick. McKinnon didn't disappear. The man has more receiving touchdowns in the history of the NFL in one season.
That's true.
What happened
That is
last week?
Huh?
We're talking now. We're talking present time. What did he do last week?
I'm talking
I
about
remember seeing much of
this.
McKinnon.
I'm talking about this season. Now, last week was, that was a little different game. Now Burrow, I will say this: Cincinnati has a hell of a defensive line when it comes to they're one of the best in tackling. Their tackling was 98% throughout the season. That's insane. I mean, they stuffed the line really well. They've done that all season long, hands down. We'll have to see how that goes.
Round 2 going in a little bit of overtime, Judge. What do you say? Jim said there's no way he's losing this round. Do you concur?
I mean, Jim would be right. You want to come in the Eagles' strength of schedule, but the Eagles won the toughest division in football, baby. 3 of the final 4 teams in the NFC came from the East. The one that didn't, San Francisco, best defense in the league. Philadelphia ran all over them. As much as I hate it, Jim gets round 2.
He definitely does.
Fully agree with
I'll
that.
give it to him. I'll give it to him because there's no doubt. I mean,
I wrote my letter to Commissioner Goodell asking him to make our schedule a little tougher for us next year, if he could do that. I know everybody was concerned about that, so we've petitioned for a harder schedule next year. I think we'll get it.
It's difficult in the NFC.
I always petition for an easier one. I don't know what's wrong with you guys. I'll take a cupcake walk. I don't know what to do. I'll take anything at this point. All right, let's get to round number 3. Going back to the champ round. Jim, let's go to you. This is again a layup for you. Receiver-wise, or I guess pass-catching-wise, let's hear why they're going to be champs this Super Bowl Sunday.
I don't know. It's a layup, right? I mean, we look across the field, and that guy wearing 97 for the Chiefs is easy Hall of Famer, number one tight end this season. But we got a guy on our side in Dallas Goedert that, I'd say he's tight end number two. And then if you look at the pure pass catchers, the pure receivers, I'll take our receiving core. A.J. Brown's another guy on this team out here to make a statement. Didn't look great the first round. Last week he got into it. Devontae Smith, the kid just makes plays. He continues to be impressive. So I'll take our wide receivers. They're the best duo in the NFC. I'll argue with anybody, maybe the best duo in the AFC. Kansas City, they like to spread the ball. So you don't have a Batman. We have three of them. So
Okay.
So
I'll take our wide receivers.
on my show, TSS Fantasy, I mean, we make fun of the experts because, quite frankly, we're all guessing, right? And I usually get a lot wrong. But one thing I did get right was bury that stack of Jalen Hurts and A.J. Brown. And Devonta Smith, not for nothing, he's on my dynasty team. He's showing up too. So great pass catching options for these Eagles for sure. Let's go on to the Chiefs. I mean, no slouches here as well. Let's hear about your pass catching options. Why they're going to be champs is coming up Sunday.
Well, Jim actually alluded to it. We are a spread offense. There's no doubt about it. But we have 3 wide receivers over 700 yards, 2 over 800 yards, 1 in Kelsey, which is an absolute wide receiver. He's at 1,300 yards, 12 touchdowns on the season. We were doubted. Remember, I mean, did anybody watch anything this season, prior to the season starting? We were not going to make the playoffs. There was no way in hell we'd make the playoffs. Come on, man, fuck. Seriously. This kid makes average wide receivers look phenomenal. And he's made everybody on this team look great. And not to mention the fact that MVS didn't have a great season. Man, he showed up in the playoffs. And when you take a guy like that, and then you got Tony on top of it, that is basically, joystick 2.0. He's a Dante Hall 2.0. I can't say enough about our wide receivers right now. We were still the number one scoring team in the league in offense. Nobody could touch us with the wide receivers that we had. I would beg to differ if anybody would say we're not the best wide receiver team in the football, because we've hit 10 different people in one game. No team can do that. You can have 2 guys out there all day long. We've seen that. We've seen that with Tyreek Hill and Waddle. We've seen it with Tyreek Hill and Kelsey. You become predictable, and then you get caged. But when you have 10 guys out there that can catch a ball at any given time, and pretty hard to handle with that.
You have to say, Patrick Mahomes called his shot when Tyreek went to America's team, the Miami Dolphins. He did call a shot, say he was going to distribute the ball around, and he certainly has all season long. He's looked great, and that receiving core, like you mentioned, definitely has been stepping up more in the playoffs, and that's when it really matters. But, Judge, what do you say? Who wins round number 3?
We're out here talking about spread offenses. The only spread I see is how thin the depth chart on Kansas City was spread last week. It seemed like everybody on the damn field was hurt. So with that, A.J. Brown, he's a stud. Devonta Smith, he's a stud. I'm probably not quite as high on Dallas Goedert as Mr. Santa Boot first, but this round goes to Jim and the Philadelphia Eagles.
All right, round number 3. He's up 2-1. Let's go into round number 4. The pressure's on. JP, going to you here. We're back to the chump round. Let's hear why this Eagles defense is going to be a chump coming up Super Bowl Sunday.
Again, we go back to strength of schedule. When you are playing teams that don't have great wide receivers, don't have a great quarterback, they may not be one of the top teams in the NFL, you tend to look better. I mentioned on our show that we played 10 top 5 defenses this year. 10. Every time we played a defense, they were top 5. Every time. I don't think they have matched up with a team like ours. They have not matched up with a team with a spread offense like ours, with a quarterback like ours. Oh, by the way, all of our wide receivers are going to be healthy with the exception of McCole Hardman come Sunday. I do got that inside info. So I don't think they're going to be able to handle Tony, Kelsey, Then you throw McKinnon in. You throw MVS in. You throw in, let's not forget Jody Fortson, Noah Gray, Watson. You've got all this plethora of wide receivers that can get the ball at any given time. I don't think they're ready for this. I don't think they're ready for this. That's my whole spiel on this. They haven't played anybody like us.
I don't think they're ready for this, Jim. Let's go to you.
Yeah.
Are you ready for this? What do you think about this Chiefs D? Why are they going to be chumps this coming up weekend?
A lot of they're not ready for us. A lot of pretender talk. I mean, you guys are the AFC West, right? You got to play Denver and Las Vegas twice each. So, again, the strength of schedule thing, it's getting a little tired. But I will say,
true.
I believe our defense was number 1, number 2, bell to bell. 15 more sacks than your Chiefs. You have a one-legged Mahomes, an offensive line that can't stand up to our defensive line. But I will say your defensive line, I'm supposed to be focusing on yours, so let me change my argument. I'm sorry, Your Honor. Chris Jones, Frank Clark, they are formidable players, right? They do worry me a little bit, even against our all-world offensive line. We see week in and week out Lane Johnson handle every great defensive end, whether it's Micah Parsons or Bosa, or you name them all. They were all supposed to be great, and Lane hasn't given up a sack all year. I don't see that changing this weekend. Outside of Jones, Clark, who's your secondary? Who's going to be – are you going to be able to cover A.J. Brown? You going to have to double him? Does that leave Devontae? Does that leave Dallas? I mean, you could talk about your spread offense, but our defense, our secondary, I'm comfortable with it.
Okay,
I just don't think your defense is ready for us. You may not have played a team like us yet this year.
Wait a minute.
Dictate how the game goes.
Have you not noticed that we have played 5 of the best wide receivers of football, and we have stuffed all 5 of those wide receivers? You're talking about Devontae Adams. You're talking about Mike Evans. God forbid we talk about Chase twice. All the top wide receivers in the NFL, our rookies, but our rookies stuff those guys. I don't know where those guys rank on the Eagles right now because it really doesn't matter. But I know how good those wide receivers were. And they weren't that good against our rookies. Our 5 rookies in the backfield. 5 rookies in the backfield.
Was that your defense or the quarterback throwing to those guys? Didn't one of those quarterbacks just lose his job? The guy that was...
Well, he may have. You're talking about one guy out of all of them? I mean, Joe Burrow can get a pass off in the AFC Championship game. He got one decent pass off.
CeeDee Lamb. We can go through that.
All right.
Yeah.
All right, we got to finish it up here because we got one last round, we hope anyway. Who wins round number 4? Judge Jordan.
So here's what I'm going to say. Full disclosure. The Philadelphia Eagles have better defense than the Kansas City Chiefs. It's abundantly clear. However, JP said exactly what I needed to hear from him. We have Patrick Mahomes. Point for JP. He's different. It doesn't matter how good your defense is. Patrick Mahomes, he's the game changer.
Well, plus, the game has to go 5 rounds, Judge, so we got to throw that in there as well. So let's get to round number 5.
Need a tiebreaker, right?
This is it. It's the money round. We're going to go to round 5. Let's go to Jim first. Let's hear why the Eagles are going to be champs Super Bowl Sunday.
Look, if either of us is a fan of our team, neither of us thinks we're going to lose, right? Let's put that out there. This is going to be an interesting game. It really is. I agree, JP. There's parts of Kansas City that we haven't seen a team like that. A lot of this is going to depend on our defense. It's going to depend on us getting to Mahomes. If we get to Mahomes, then there's nothing your team can do against us, right? And you could say the same against Hurts. He hasn't needed to throw the ball the next 2 games. Our run game is done. And as I said, I feel like the Eagles dictate the way the game goes. We've been the most consistent team from start to finish through the season. I think that continues. It's going to be a close game. I'm not calling for a blowout by any means. But I think Nick Sirianni's going to get his revenge against Andy in the Andy Reid Bowl. He fired Andy. He's pissed off. He's going to show the old man, hey, it's time to bring some new kids in here, some fresh legs. And this is the new NFL, Andy. Continue with your trick plays. You got it there, Andy, but it's time for the new kids to take over. I think the Birds take the win. Do you want our score prediction now? Or we hold off on that?
Not yet. We'll close that out in the end, but I like the way
Okay.
that was running for sure. Big closeout for sure. Let's go to JP. Close us out. Why the Chiefs are going to be champs. Super Bowl Sunday.
Let's start off with experience in the playoffs and Super Bowl. I mean, that right there is number one. You got a guy that in Patrick Mahomes that really doesn't falter in the playoffs. Now, in the Super Bowl, in 2020, the Super Bowl, he had no offensive line. No, nobody. I mean, the last guy he had went down in the AFC Championship game. So he was running for his life the entire time. We have the number 2 offensive line in football. Hands down. Number 2 offensive line in football. Mahomes scrambles better than anybody in the game. There's nobody can deny that. He scrambles, he gets out of the way, he knows how to work the sidelines. He does everything correct, and nobody can usually catch him. And it's crazy when people talk about this because when you see this man run, he doesn't run straight up the middle most of the time. He's leaning towards the sidelines. They don't know which way because of his eye movement and his hand movement. They don't know if he's going to continue to run or if he's going to run out of bounds. That's been his staple run every time he runs the ball. So, in fact, that's how he scored a touchdown a couple of times because they didn't know which way he was going. But Andy Reid has so much more experience in this type of environment. The entire team does, actually. I don't know how many guys you have left over from your Super Bowl run. I think you have 3, right?
2 or 3, yeah.
Yeah. I know Fletcher Cox was definitely one of them. I mean, the guy's a freaking phenom.
Fletcher, Lane, Kelsey.
Yeah. And Kelsey, of course, and I love Kelsey. But I don't think the experience is there to be able to handle going into this kind of environment, this type of pressure against an all-world head coach. And by the way, he may be an older guy, but he's innovated this game. He brings everything to the game that everybody tries to mimic, and they can't. And you were there. You know how Andy operates.
I know.
This man brings up shit from 1940 and mixes it with a college guy in 1962, and the next thing you know, you got a fucking play on Wednesday that they got to learn and do it on Sunday. There's the experience, the high level of play between Mahomes, Kelsey, and everybody else on that team, and Andy's innovative ways of making just shit happen. The Chiefs are going to win this hands down.
Wow.
It's just they're just going to win this game. There's a revenge factor in this too. Remember, Andy got fired. From your team, and he hasn't forgotten that. So he's got a big, giant playbook. Looks like a Stephen King novel, and he hasn't even got past page 3 yet. So
it's gonna be an exciting game for
Yeah.
sure. Judge, what say you though? You are the judge for at least this realm. Who do you say wins? Champs or Chumps? Big Game Edition.
Champs or Chumps, big game edition. Super Bowl champion, I believe with all of my heart this year, is going to be Patrick Mahomes and the Kansas City Chiefs. However, if there's any consolation prize, Jim at Santa Boot first, he's taking home champs versus Chump. Jim gets the point. He's the winner.
Wow.
Yeah,
Okay.
Jim, good point, sir.
I don't know how that works out.
All right.
That's right.
I'm going along with it. You're the judge. I can't say anything.
Argument.
It's
Hey,
all
you got
about
the hair, so that's all that matters. I mean, as long as you're wearing that, that's all that's real.
It's
So
all about the wig and the argument on this show, my friend. Congratulations, Jim. You are our
you are
Super
the man,
Bowl
Jim.
winner.
Congratulations.
And his name is John Cena.
And unfortunately for you, JP, and my
sorry,
friend,
JP.
you are our loser.
And look,
Dumbass. Thank these. They call me dumbass. Play kind entertainment. Stupid.
So you're telling me there's a chance?
Congratulations to you both. It was a great Champs or Chumps Big Game Edition. Jim, we're going to start with you, my friend. Let everyone know where they can follow, subscribe, and get all your great content. And also, let's hear the Super Bowl prediction.
First, JP, I know some fine attorneys. If you want to follow appeal, I'd be happy to help you out with that. Appeal.
He's an NFC fan. What do you expect? He's a fan of an NFC team.
I'm a Cowboys fan, so I hate
I
the
think
Eagles.
he was fair.
And my AFC team of choice is the Kansas City Chiefs, and I'm for them. They're going to win the game. I just thought Jim did a great job.
Yeah, he did. I got to give him that. He did a great job. So what's your score?
I appreciate it. Thanks for having me on. You can find our podcast. You can find us Tandem Boot First. We go live on Thursday nights on Facebook, YouTube. Philly sports fans mostly focused on the Eagles. We're 3 generations of Eagles season ticket holders. Find us there. We talk other things in sports. My prediction for the game, as I said, if I went against the Eagles, I wouldn't be a true fan. I think 38-24. I think it comes down to a couple big plays, couple big turnovers by the Chiefs that push us ahead, and that party will start early fourth quarter for the Eagles.
Nice. All right. Well, JP, my friend, you might have lost tonight, but you're still a winner in our hearts. Let us know where we can follow, subscribe, get all your great content, and let's hear your prediction as well.
You can find us Chiefs Focus First and 10 Live. We're on every podcast planet or channel on the planet. You can find us on YouTube, Twitter, Twitch. We're everywhere. We do shows 3 times a week, Tuesday, Thursday, and Sundays. And also you can check us out at www.chiefsfocus.com. We're all over the place. Prediction-wise, I am not going to put a blowout game in this like Jim did, because I just don't want to embarrass him right now. But I will say that the Chiefs will win this game, and Patrick Mahomes will put up 36 points. The defense will hold. I will say 36-24.
Okay, well, it's pretty close.
Not a blowout. It's 2 less points than me.
I did that on purpose, by the way. I did that on purpose.
It's only because the Chiefs are going to kneel after that last touchdown. They're not.
That's it. I mean, come on, man. They're going to have like 4 minutes left. You're going to see Chad Henne in there, and he's going to be throwing bombs. He's going to run a 98-yard touchdown. It's insane. But yeah, that was a great round, man. I loved it.
Yeah, great job, guys. We do appreciate you. Good luck today. This is, again, Super Bowl Sunday, so good luck today. Wish your teams both well, and again into next season. And we'll hope to be seeing you guys soon. Thank you guys once again. And if you're hit the subscribe button while you're watching right now, and also put your prediction in our comments, because we're giving away a signed Jonathan Taylor jersey for those who are hitting in the live comments, so make sure you check that out. We're going to kick it back to our booth, if you will. Let's send it back. Thank you guys both very much. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thanks, fellas.
Yes.